lucky enough to be joined by David White, TJ Cimfel. These two are the writing tandem behind the work that Adam and Brian put together on the screen. You two made this thing happen. Horror's on the menu tonight because that's what you two write. How awesome. Tell us about, why do you love horror? Let's start it with that.
Probably want to start with me because I think I'm more horrific in general than my partner here. It's just something that I grew up with all along. I remember my family watching horror movies when I was little, and I'd kind of like creep down the stairs and listen to the movie, and I was a little too scared to go in and actually watch it. But that always captured my imagination and kind of took off from there, and I've always been a huge fan of the genre. And yeah, working with Dave, I feel like he's kind of wanted to come along a little bit with it and helped out along the way.
So horror and being scared is what sparked your imagination, and that stayed with you, made its way into your writing. David, is your story similar?
My story's a little different. I feel like I was I was pulled sort of kicking and screaming into the horror genre. I tend more naturally towards kind of psychological thrillers, so still dark, less jumpy, less gory. But I feel like together it makes a really nice mix.
I'm going to throw it back to you, TJ. What kind of elements drew you to it?
To horror?
Yes.
I mean, I've always been actually more of a supernatural guy, and that's not what we had going on with Shut In, but it was something kind of like even in the beginning stages of thinking about the idea of a woman who was too afraid to leave her home. It was like kind of coming up with this notion of what would be the scariest thing for her to face. And so that even started from a supernatural place. And then we just kind of refined it from there and made it actually a lot simpler and more grounded and really terrifying from a realistic sense.
Absolutely. So I want to go two places with that. One, tackling this home invasion genre that is really popular right now. The reviews for your film are through the roof. It's been done well recently, but your film is gaining so much attention. Talk to us about if that was part of your thinking in putting this together, and why you've been so effective with it.
Well, I feel like the reason I feel like it works in Shut In to whatever extent it does, I feel like is from the characters. It comes from the characters, and I feel like we hit on a nice the woman with agoraphobia. I feel like it was a nice concept to work from and to create a real character who feels like a real person going through these events. I think that is a large part of what makes it work.
So it started with that, with more of a character story with an arc, and you ended up setting it in a home and going from there, or have I misspoken?
It's all baked in together, which I feel like, so TJ came up with the original concept, and he came to me and said, woman with agoraphobia gets involved in a home invasion. Now the invasion comes to her. She's a woman who can't leave the house and can't escape from the bad guys, and it's all baked in right there. It's character and home invasion and location. It's all tied together perfectly.
Okay. You would agree with all that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'd say I think maybe one of the other things that's making this pretty successful is the unexpected, which was a really important part of it, and something that we obviously don't talk about. We just want people to see. But that was a big part of it too. Is that we just feel like the woman with agoraphobia in home, with these people, with these intruders, coming in, that actually, that alone could have made an amazing movie, but we wanted to throw in some more unexpected elements, and I think that's a lot of what people are sparking to.
Yes. Well, they're certainly responding. Now, talk about Adam and Brian talked about the amazing story of how this house, this perfect location, came together. Did you get a chance to see the location and put your say in it, or was it did you put your faith in the location managers and say find it and we're good with it?
Yeah, it was amazing. We were at home in Chicago, and Adam and Brian were scouting places in Louisiana, and they sent us some pictures, and eventually we got on set, and it was basically like the house kind of sprang from the pages of the script.
It really did.
It really did.
There were elements that you had imagined when you were writing, because I'm sure you do that when you're putting words on a page, that you saw in those photos, and then once you got there.
I mean, they left a lot of the production designer left a lot of the house as it was, and didn't even have to do any extra dressing because it was what we were looking for.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's an amazing, really an amazing setting, and I remember like when we showed up on set, just like walking through and looking around and just looking at all the knickknacks that were there to begin with, and the the wallpaper peeling off and the mold and the vines growing in through the windows were, I mean, just like the setting was so distinct and just palpable and beautiful.
Just the layout of the house
Yeah,
as well.
yeah,
I mean,
oh,
there were a lot of things that were necessary that needed to be
an action that needed the house to be set up like it was, and we couldn't believe that it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And your directing, producing team executed on them. I want to talk about how this partnership of the four of you came to be, if you wouldn't mind commenting on that.
So we have a manager that Brian and Adam also share, and we had heard of the guys, previously. We'd seen their movie Delivery, The Beast Within.
Great.
It's all about title changes with these films tonight.
We're used to that, right? So we'd seen that. So I think we were both kind of vaguely aware of each other as a team that Mark Manis managed, and he just, he'd gotten them the shut-in script, I think a long time ago, and it was going through its own options and working through some stuff, and ultimately didn't pan out. And then when it was available again, he saw the opportunity, and the four of us got together, and it was just like magic and immediate.
Incredible. Yeah. So they raced through production. I know it was
fast.
12 days, 15 days, 15 days.
15 days.
Were the two of you able to get into Louisiana and be on set during production?
Yeah, we both went down. I stayed for a week. TJ was on for a few days.
Okay.
Yeah, it was amazing to see it come to life.
Do you typically do that, or as writers, do you try to separate yourself once your work has?
We've gone to set every single time our movie has been made, which is once.
Well, you know what? You have
Quite true. That's not quite true. We have other examples, but no, this is the only one that we've gone to. But I mean, that would obviously be the ideal. I mean, it's an amazing thing to be able to be on set and witness this stuff happening in real time, and then have to bite your tongue because there's so many other people there that are making the movie.
Yes.
Of
course, and I was going to say 4 heads together. I mean, that you know what I mean. Usually it's a writer and a directing and a producing team, and that's 3.
Right.
There's 4 of you as tandem, but from all of your temperaments, I bet you all got along pretty great.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got along really great. I mean, I think there were so many things, there was absolutely nothing where it was like, oh, we're questioning this decision. It was like actually just amazing how they were doing it. And like while we were there, it was very evident to us that they were making the movie that we wrote. And that is actually not a given when you get in this situation as a writer. Once you sell your script, you're kind of almost like, okay, here we go. Let's see how this goes. And they just did a fantastic job with it.
So you felt great about it then. You've seen it now. You're thrilled.
Yes.
And we're thrilled that we're going to get to see it tonight. It's Shut Intruders. I know that's credit goes to you two. That was said off camera. But it's Shut In. It's going to be Intruders because some great things are happening with the film. It's going to see legs beyond here at the 2015 Twin Cities Film Fest. Thanks you two so much. Get back here again. I know you have a couple projects, a couple more. And what genre are they in?
Horror. It's horror. Yeah.
You know it. I'm one of your hosts, Doug Sidney. We're going to see you back again here on the Go 96.3 FM sponsored Red Carpet. We're going to enjoy this film.